Yes! Get in, lads and lasses. That's what leadership looks like. That's what it means to Newcastle United. That's what it means to us fans to start off 2026 on an absolute high. And Newcastle have done exactly that. It looked like it was going to be a bit of a frustrating afternoon, but we started the game off really quick. We've got to see, of course, Anthony Gordon get a goal through a pass by Johan Wissa, which he could have easily scored himself, but then it was ruled offside. To be honest, in my opinion, it probably should have been allowed because it looked like, to me, that Wissa was onside, but it is what it is. It happens, dodgy decisions and all that stuff. We've been saying that a lot this season, but then we're seeing Joe Linton score in the game. Probably right that it was offside on that one. You could see, Joe Linton was in an offside position. But then we see the moment when, we get to see us finally take the lead. It's not ruled off. And it is, of course, a beautiful bit of play by the lads. At the Gallagher end, a brilliant ball across the box. Lewis Miley gets onto the end of it. He taps it into, of course, whoever. Then Captain Bruno with the header, rising above the rest with about 20 minutes left to go in the game. And Bruno heads it into the back of the net at the Gallagher end. The crowd goes absolutely wild. Newcastle are 1-0 up. They're not VARing this goal off. They're not choking this goal off. Newcastle have finally taken the lead, and there's nothing the officials can do about it. With 20 minutes left in the game, 7 minutes after that, we're seeing Mali Chow add to that lead and make it 2-0 Newcastle United. And I've got to say, fully deserved. We were absolutely fantastic in that game today. Palace just looked absolutely lacklustre. They just seemed to want to show up and, time waste a lot. That was something we were seeing a lot from Palace in the game. They just seemed to want to time waste quite a lot in that game. And it looked like they were just happy to come up to St James's Park and see if they could maybe, steal a point away from St James's as well. And that's probably because of the record that I talked about going into this match. The fact that we've got such a brilliant record at St James's Park. It's a complete fortress this season. We might not have the best record away from home this season, but the record at St James's Park this season is absolutely sensational. We've got a brilliant record, and it continues on after this game. And that was the first as well of 4 home games to start off this year. So now we've got 3 home games left, 1 in the league, which is against Leeds coming up. That's the next game. Then, of course, the FA Cup game against Bournemouth. And then, of course, the League Cup semi-final first leg against Manchester City. But, I mean, that game today is sealed. Just what we need to be seeing from Newcastle United. We need to be seeing that energy, that passion, that drive. And we're seeing that a lot today from the lads, and especially from players like Lewis Miley as well, who didn't put a foot wrong all game. 100% pass accuracy. He was given the man of the match by Sky Sports, is Michael Bridges, of course. And I've got to go with that as well. I've got to say Lewis Miley as well, because he just was absolutely amazing. He's filling in at that right back position, just like he's a natural to that right back position. And we all know he's playing out of position, but he's not putting a foot wrong. And this shows, the talent that Lewis Miley has. This shows what we've been talking about Lewis Miley for years, from the moment he came on the scene when he was playing against PSG in the Champions League over 2 years ago. This just shows how good Lewis Miley is, and hopefully, it continues, because the lad is going places. He's got a lot of talent, and he's showing exactly what he is able to do. And he's only 19 years old. You've got to remember that. He's only a 19-year-old kid, and he's playing out there like he's an absolute veteran. He's been in the game for years. That's the way Lewis Miley's playing, and that performance today proved that. The way he was shown on that pitch, he looked absolutely amazing today, as he has done in all of the other games that he's played in. But let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Any Crystal Palace fans watching? Like I say, I thought, Crystal Palace came into this game looking more for to try and steal a point away from St James's Park, probably because of that whole, fortress, the record that we've got going this season at St James's Park, and the fact that it's very hard for people who come to St James's Park and win or take points away from St James's Park. There hasn't been very many teams that have done it. but I think we've done really, really well there to kick off 2026 in style with a 2-0 win. Captain Bruno, of course, scoring the opening goal, and then Mali Chow with the second. And I've got to say, Mali Chow's been doing amazing as well since he's gotten his chance to get into the side. He's scored 3 goals now. That is absolutely amazing return for a centre-back, I've got to say. But let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Bruno as well on some pretty good numbers this season. Now, I think he's got quite a bit up there on the scorer chart as well. I think it's quite high now. Yeah, he's up to 6 goals and 2 assists now in there this season. So that's a really, really good tally. And looking at the league table, we are now currently 9th with 20 games played. So 18 games left to play. And we're sitting a point behind the Mackhams in 8th place. We're sitting 9th place, of course. So we're pushing for them European spots still with 18 games left to go. So that is right around where we want to be. We want to be higher than that as well, of course. But we'll see what happens in the game coming up against Leeds, which is the next game at St James's Park. But till next time, hit that like, share, subscribe to the channel, and what a way to start off 2026. How are the lads?